Thank you. Okay, so yesterday we discussed some circuits as well as we seen some problems and about some basics of semiconductors. Also, we discussed band gap, forbidden energy band gap, and all those things of conductors, insulators, semiconductors. So today we'll conclude the diode portion. So before that, I'll just draw a simple circuit. For example, I have a diode like this, and I have some resistance R, say R equal to say 1 kilo ohm. Say I have voltage source here. Okay, say for example 2 volt plus minus, right? Diode D1. Okay, so the question will be like this: find the current going passing to the diode or the resistance. What is the voltage drop across this resistance? V out across the resistance, etc. These are the possible questions. Find I and V, right? So before analyzing any diode circuits, we should completely understand diode equivalent models or diode equivalent circuits, right? So what do you mean by diode equivalent circuits? So yesterday I think we had discussed two problems. I think we didn't completely solve it. Two problems which were I was using the diode inside the circuits, some kind of circuits where there's a lot of resistance, a lot of voltage source. There are many diodes. Okay, so if you want to analyze those kind of circuits, you should know how to represent diode to find the equivalent circuit. For example, in Thevenin, if you're taking Thevenin voltage, Thevenin resistance of a circuit, you should deal with this resistance. Sorry, you should deal with the diode. How you replace the diode? You would replace with the voltage source. You replace the resistance, right? This is a question. So before finding the Thevenin circuit, you should understand how I can represent the diodes in that circuit. Okay, so so before coming to this question, we should completely understand what is the modeling. What are the different types of modeling of a diode? So I think we have discussed we have discussed even I think resistant trust diode equivalent circuits. I'm not sure. We have discussed the I think we have discussed the ideal diode circuits models. We have discussed the constant voltage models, I think, right? So here, let's start doing this problem from starting. So we know first the question is if this is ideal diode, with the resistance is 0, we can just see this is forward biased, right? This is forward biased. For ideal diode, I can neglect this diode and just put a short circuit over this. So this is the ideal diode, right? This is a current flowing. So we can easily find the current to the circuit. Current to the circuit I equal to V divided by R. So V is 2 volt and R is 1 kilo ohm. Okay, so our current is 2 milliampere, right? So whatever be the input voltage 2 volt will be appearing across my output. So 2 volt will be appearing across my resistance, right? So this is easy if it is ideal diode. But in practical cases, you should know there is no ideal diode. So we have to replace this diode with, diode drop is always there. So there are two options which I have not discussed. One kind of modeling. This options I think we have discussed. The anode portion will be plus, cathode will be minus. And what will diode drop? 0.7 in case of silicon diodes, right? So there will be a voltage drop in the real diode. Okay, so right now what will be the current in this case? Now in this case, sorry. So in this case, now the circuit is like this: voltage, diode, representation resistance, right? This is 2 volt. Diode, this is plus minus 0.7, and this is R equal to 2 kilo, 1 kilo, right? 1 kilo. So 1 kilo ohm. Okay, so here in this case, I equal to V by R. What is equivalent voltage in the circuit? We know 2 minus 0.7 is there. to minus 0.7. Can see if you use the Kirchhoff law, can see this is minus to plus. So I put it plus, and this is plus to minus. This is decreasing. So I put it minus by convention, right? So now 1 kilo ohm. Resistance is total 1 kilo ohm. So I know 1.3 divided by 1 kilo ohm. Here the current is 1.3 milliampere, right? So what will be the voltage drop across this output resistance? V output. What is the voltage drop? 2 minus 0.7, right? That is nothing but 1.3 volt. Okay, so this happens in the real case. But you may ask one question. Now I am replacing the diode with a 0.7 volt. But is it accurate? The answer is no. This is not accurate. Right? If you want more precise, you have to do something better. Let's see a bit more about that. Okay, so I think we have already discussed an ideal diode. Ideal diode graph is, this is I, this is V. We have seen the ideal diode. I have a graph like this. And the reverse bias, what voltage drop across my diode will be there. But in forward bias, without any voltage drop, I have all the current flowing through it. That is ideal case, right? But in practical case, we have discussed the diode graph is actually something like this. There says light saturation current and something like this. Not exactly like this. Not exactly like this. It will be having knee voltage. It's called knee voltage. There's some voltage after which only diode will be starting the movement. So this voltage is called knee voltage. Which voltage? This voltage. There is some voltage knee voltage, beyond which diode is conducting heavily. This is knee voltage, some voltage. Usually in silicon, it is the knee voltages or voltage drops 0.7 volt. In germanium, it is 0.3 volt. Okay, so this is not ideal. This is characteristics real. So we have also discussed another model of a diode, right? If the current is increasing beyond a period, so we can replace the diode with a, right? In silicon, it is 0.7 something. So now the equivalent circuit of the diode is, ideally, it was like equivalent circuit was a switch, simple switch. In forward bias, it is on, reverse bias, it is off, ideal case. But here, this model of the diode, I have shown a constant voltage drop. So the diode, real case, I'm replacing with a constant voltage drop, right? This is plus and minus, and an ideal diode. Okay. So what I have done in this model, to show the voltage drop 0.7 across the diode, what I have done, I have kept a voltage source which is 0.7 volt. 0.7 volt. Okay. 0.7. This is 0.7 volt. And a series ideal diode. Right. This is ideal diode. Very, very important point. This is ideal diode. Right. Here there is no drop. So all the drop is coming from this voltage source. Equivalent voltage source over it. So this model is called constant voltage drop model, equivalent circuit or equivalent model. Okay, so this is a constant voltage source. I'm showing equivalent of the voltage drop across the real diode with an ideal diode in series. Okay, so this is a bit more perfect, better than the ideal case. This is a bit more perfect, but ideally we want to go towards this case, real case, where not only there is a here you can see the resistance. Here you can see the resistance here. You know, resistance is always the slope. Here the slope is infinity, right? This is I, this is V. So here this slope is infinity. So the resistance is 0, right? We have seen the slope is 1 by slope is resistance, dynamic resistance here. So slope is infinity, the resistance is 0, right? So this is the point here. Here the resistance is 0. In our equivalent circuit we have just made, the resistance of diode is considered as 0. But in practical case, that is not the case. There is some fixed resistance because there is some slope here. You can see there is some slope here, right? There is some slope theta or something. So that means in real case, there is some resistance. In real diode, there is always some resistance. But in equivalent voltage drop model, in this model, in this model on the bottom right, we are not showing that resistance, but this is practically, this is fine. In last example, we had done the constant voltage drop model or constant voltage drop equivalent circuit of the diode. Okay, so once again, I explained this thing. So diode, ideal diode, how can I represent? This is my ideal diode. This is I, this is V, and my current will be very high even if there is no voltage drop across the diode. Reverse bias, there is no current. This is ideal diode, right? So ideal diode I'll present by on switch, forward bias. In forward bias it is on switch, in reverse bias it is off switch. Okay. Now I can improve the model to model the ideal diodes by I just added a voltage source here, right? So I have a voltage source here at some point 0.7 for silicon and 0.3 for germanium. Now this is a better model. This is equivalent voltage source, constant voltage source equivalent circuit of a diode. This is I, this is V. Okay, so here what is the model of my, it's not a switch, it is a voltage source, this is 0.7 and a ideal diode, right? In silicon it is 0.7, in germanium it is 0.3 volt. Okay, this is constant voltage source model of a diode. No, but my ideal diode is not working like this. It have always have a, always some negative current is always there, and it always have a slope is always the exponential function. You remember the exponential model. There's always some slope, and whenever the slope is there, it indicates, we will discuss, there is some resistance. So there is some resistance when the diode is conducting, but in our model it is resistance is zero, right? There is no slope, there is resistance is zero, right? Why resistance is zero? Because we know tan theta here is nothing but slope, which is nothing but 1 by resistance, dynamic resistance RD, right? Because we show y-axis, because you can see y-axis is delta I, x-axis delta V. So we can see it's 1 by R. Okay, so that is why I'm saying my slope gives my resistance. I can say in exact sense 1 by resistance. Slope is 1 by resistance, and tan theta is the slope. Okay, so in ideal case, or in the ideal case, there is no battery source. In the equivalent circuit model, I need a battery source, but in real, not to model real diode, I need one resistance also. So what I'll do, not exact modeling, I need not only a voltage source and I need a resistance also along with the real diode, right? This is plus minus 0.7 volt for silicon and some resistance RD, a dynamic resistance, and the diode. Now, what is the diode doing in this equivalent circuit? Diode is important. Diode is important because diode gives the ideal characteristics. This is ideal diode. This is the ideal diode. Okay. Without ideal diode, I cannot represent this reverse bias condition. This diode is off, right? Diode is off when I'm giving a reverse bias. So that can be represented only using this ideal diode. So I need a voltage source, resistance, and a diode, ideal diode to model the. So this actually this kind of modeling was piecewise equivalent circuit, piecewise linear equivalent circuit, right? It's also not perfect, but this is more more exhibiting real behavior, right? So this model is called, you can see this model is called piecewise equivalent circuit. Piecewise equivalent circuit model of a diode. Okay, piecewise equivalent circuit of diode, and this is a linear thing, so you can add linear. Piecewise linear is also fine. Piecewise linear equivalent circuit of a diode, right? Because it is linear, we are using a resistance, so it is linear. But in real life, exponential function is not a linear. You should remember that exponential function is in any way is not never a linear. But if we assume, say, a range for this to this, it can be assumed as a linear. For example, if you see the top right, for some portion in this graph, I can assume it as a linear, right? Something like this. So this is one advantage of this piecewise linear equivalent circuit of a diode. where I represents or I replace diode with a resistance and a voltage source. Okay, but when we do problems, sometimes we can represent diode using our simple model, simple voltage source, the constant voltage drop model, right? So this is also fine. Why? Because the resistance across the diode is very less. This is called forward resistance or forward resistance. Diode resistance is usually very small. So let's see if we try to see what is the resistance across the diode. So we have this is current, this is voltage, forward bias. So if I plot the diode with light negative voltage here with zero till small point and start rising, something like this. Okay, so this is the ideal diode, is exponential model. Even exponentiality is also still a model, but it is more perfect. Okay, so how to calculate the dynamic resistance of a diode? So for that, we need to find a small portion here. So for example, we start with a curve here, near voltage. For example, this is 0.7 volt for the silicon. I will take some other point, some point is some other voltage. Maybe this is a 2 volt or something, right? Now we measure the equivalent current. At this point, the current is, say for example, and here I will the current is 0. So these two currents also we'll note. Here the current is 0 ampere. Here the current may be 5 or 10 ampere, whatever, 10 milliampere, Okay. So this to now how to find the equivalent circuit, find the tan theta. You know the tan theta. This is something like this, right? So just find the tan theta of this thing. This is delta I. This is delta V. So resistance, forward resistance is the 1 by slope here. 1 by slope. Why 1 by slope? Because my y-axis is current, x-axis is voltage, right? So 1 by slope means we have delta V divided by delta I. Because slope is here, the slope here I'll get, slope here is delta I divided by delta V, right? Because y-axis I have current and x-axis I have voltage. So here it is 1 by slope, right? So if you delta V, what is delta V? 2 minus 0.7, change in voltage. And how much current? 10 minus 0, there's milliampere. Okay, so this resistance we can say 1.3, this 1.3 divided by 10. Okay, I think I have taken it too much current. 10 milliampere is a bit too much. I should take some, usual is 5 to 10 is, yeah, usual current takes in diode can take 10 to 15 milliampere, but it's fine. But 2 voltage is a bit less here. Anyway, we'll take 10 milliampere, 10 raised to minus 3. Okay, so how much will be the resistance? 1.3, 1. So 0.13 into 10 raised to 3. So we can see the value will be coming around, you can say 130 ohm. Is it right? No, not 130. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, 0.13 into 10 raised to 3. 130. Yeah, is it right? 130 ohm, right? Okay. So we can see here I calculated the resistance is 130 ohm. I think it's a bit more. I think usually if you calculate the diameter resistance will be around 50 or 40 to 50 ohm, something like that. Sometimes it can be 20, 30 also, but usually it is like that. Okay, but 130 is also fine. So when you go to lab or you have some diodes in your home, you can check in the multimeter or a ohm meter how much is their forward resistance. But when you check the ohm meter, you get it is around 300 something, 300 ohm something. Okay, so this is actually a different resistance. This is a dynamic resistance. This is not static resistance. So this is we are varying the current from some point and we are checking the resistance. Okay, so here it is 130 ohm, but usually in some practical cases it may be less than 50 ohm. So who decides? You can see the data sheets of the diode. So that is why the term or the feature which we record, they're called data sheets. So what are data sheets? It's very important as electronics engineering. So data sheets are those manual. Every device, every system comes with a manual. So what this manual gives, it gives the forward resistance of the diode, what is the maximum current capacity, what is the power rating, etc., etc. Okay, so we have to refer the data sheets of the diode, which gives exact resistance. What is my exact forward resistance in this voltage range, etc. So it may be, for example, for a silicon, it may be 50, less than 50 ohm. For so germanium, for germanium, it may be less than 50 ohm. Silicon, it may be 130 ohm, something. So it varies. It varies based on the material, also varies based on the manufacture process. Sometimes the same silicon diode may have different resistance also based on the voltage rating, the fabrication process. So there are a lot of factors. So we have to go for the data sheets. So usually we have to go the data sheets. But whenever resistance, all the other circuit components in our circuit is kilo ohm range, this can be easily neglected. So this resistance of 50 ohm or 130 ohm can be neglected. Okay, so this is just I have shown you how to calculate the dynamic resistance of a diode. This you can do in lab. This is an experiment in lab which we trying to calculate the forward resistance of a diode, right? We calculate delta I, we calculate delta V. So I'm just taking some ideal values here. You may get a better values when you do in the lab. Okay, so anyway the range will be around 100 ohm, something 100 ohm, less than 100 ohm usually we'll get around 50 ohm, something less than 50 ohm, something like that, and depends. And so you have to refer the data sheets. And how to refer data sheets? You have to first see the what is the name of the diode you're using. The diode you're using, you have name some names. For example, silicon diode IN4001 is the name of a diode, right? So IN4007 is there's another diode IN4007. These are the names of diodes. So based on these diodes, you have to go to the data sheet. How to go to data sheet? You need to go to the internet and type the part number of the diode and type which company. Maybe your diode is coming from um, LM Semiconductors, NP Semiconductors, Taiwan Semiconductors, or any Fairchild, or any different companies which was providing this diode. So whatever. So based on the company, you have to go to data sheets. Mostly based on the part number, you'll have the same characteristics. A IN4007 diode made by any company should obey some standard like resistance should be same, the voltage characteristics, everything should be same. So first you should have the name of the diode, which you can read in the diode. This will be written on the diode. Then it you should so okay. So first you have to see what is the what is the name written on the diode. Then what you need? Yeah, then you have to go to the internet and type the datasheet of that diode. Then you can download the datasheet of this diode, and then you can see what is the dynamic resistance, forward resistance, what is the voltage drop, and what are the characteristics based on temperature, right? Electronic devices vary its operation based on its temperature also, right? you know the holes and electrons, they have more mobility at a higher temperature, etc. Okay, so all these characteristics you can get in the data sheets. It's only a 3 or 4 pages, but it shows all the characteristics. Okay, it applies to all devices, even resistance. But usually we don't go for resistance because it is everything given on the everything is given on the resistant color codes, tolerance values, etc. So diode, transistors, and other electronic devices, we need data sheets. Okay, so we have tried to find the equivalent resistance. So right now we go back to the problem. Now the same problem, if I use two diodes, what happens? Okay, so this is 2 kilo resistance. I'm taking output here. Now this is input 5 volt. Okay, so now there are two. If these diodes are silicon diodes, I should know this is silicon. So I can replace this in a forward bias state. You can replace with a voltage source, 4 voltage source, like this. 2 voltage source in series. This 0.7, this 0.7 volt. Okay, fine. So in the forward bias state, in the reverse state, anyway, there will not be current because both diodes are reverse biased. In a forward state, I can replace the two diodes. Instead of diodes, I can replace the this. Okay, so you may ask, is not perfect. Yeah, this is not perfect because we are assuming the diode have zero resistance, right? Because we are not using the piecewise linear model of the equivalent circuit of the diode. Here we are using the constant voltage model of the diode, drop voltage model. Okay, now what is the current here? Can you find the current here? What is the current here? Okay, so the current here is nothing but I equal to this is a voltage source V minus 0.7 minus 0.7 divided by what is the resistance? Resistance is 2 kilo, right? So we'll get how much? 1.4, 0.7 minus 0.7, 1.4. That means 3.6 divided by 2 kilo ohm. What is this? That is 1.8 milliampere. Okay, so that is the current flowing across this. So what will be output voltage? We can either multiply this current with this resistance 1.8 milliampere into this voltage drop is there, or another option is 5 minus 0.7 minus 0.1. That means 3.6 will be drop across this resistance. Okay, I hope it is clear. Here we are not using the piecewise equivalent circuit model. We are just replacing diode by a 0.7. So one answer why I am doing like this, you can say the output resistance is 2 kilo ohm. So even if I put my resistance values like 50 or 40 ohm or 10 ohm, it's negligible, right? Even error is less than 10% or something. That's fine. Even if you take a forward resistance 50 ohm, 50 ohm, it's not going to affect much. Okay, so it's fine. I'm okay with the error. But if you want more accurate reading, I need perfect reading. Now you have to add the resistance also. You need to add the resistance for each diode. You need to add some resistance, and this resistance you have to get from the data sheets. Okay, so we cannot take any random resistance. For example, I don't know what is my diode. I don't know whether diode is IN4001 or IN4007 or any other Germanium diodes, all those things. And at least 0.7 means it is a silicon diode. Okay, fine. The silicon diode is 0.7. Okay, so I think that yesterday we had a similar problem. We had tried to do similar problem. I think I'll just take that. So in my meantime, if there is any if any doubt, I can take any doubt or any comments like the timing. Some may have some issues with the timing or something. Should we need it? Should need it earlier or something? Classes timing is fine or fine, or should I change the class timing to morning or something? Okay, so this was something we discussed yesterday. I hope you have tried this. So what I have done here, I am using Thevenin circuits. You can see there is, okay, here I cannot write. Okay, so here what I have done, there is a diode circuit here. Okay, so this diode circuit I have taken itself as a as a uh, as a output node, right? So other part of circuit I have modeled using a Thevenin's theorem, right? So I applied Thevenin theorem here. So this A and B portion, I kept as such. All the part of circuit, it can be very complicated circuit. So I just model all those complicated circuit into a simple voltage source and a series resistance. So this is the advantage of Thevenin theorem. You know? can simplify the circuit dramatically, and you can just vary your diodes or resistance, and we can see what is my current output. Okay, okay. So here I think it is clear. Everyone might have able to do it. So here, what is my here? What is my Thevenin voltage here? Voltage across these two portion A and B, right? So we can know that 12 volt is shared across 12 ohm resistance and 6 ohm resistance. So the Thevenin voltage across this is ETH, ETH. This is ETH. So ETH is nothing but ETH is 12 into 6 divided by 12 plus 6. 12 plus 6. Okay, so how much you will get? 12 plus 6, 18. 2 by 3. 2 by 3 into 6. 12 by 3 equal to 4 volt, right? So Thevenin voltage is 4 volt. So this is 4. 4 minus 0.3. Now what is Thevenin resistance? We know how to find the Thevenin resistance. We see the resistance across A and B. When resistance across A and B, we can say there is two resistances. Then we have to short circuit the voltage source. So this is 12 parallel 6. So 12 parallel 6. 12 into 6 divided by 12 plus 6. 12 plus 6, 18. So 2 plus 18, 2 by 3 into 6. 12 by 3. So the resistance is also 4. So R Thevenin is also 4. Okay. So using this, we can calculate. If it is germanium, drop is 0.3. It is silicon, it is 0.7. Okay. So here I'm just using a simple Thevenin theorem. Now we had another problem also. Um, this is a bit more complicated problem, although I had just drawn some random circuit, but it came each later by seeing this was not an easy circuit to solve. Okay, so how you deal with this kind of circuits? We need the diode equivalent model. Here also the idea is same. We need to find the first after inspection. You can easily see, just by inspection you can see that this diode is always reverse biased. This is a D3 diode, right? Because it's plus always is you can say it is always reverse biased. So this is like this, right? So what happens? We don't need to consider that diode at all, right? Because it is always remaining in a reverse bias condition. So I can neglect this, right? So our circuit is reduced. If I neglect it, my circuit can be much simplified. Now another point is you have to find the current across D1 and D2. So you can see the current I1 after passing through D1, there is always a current across the resistance also, right? This is say I2. No, this is say this maybe it is I, or leave it. This is I3. Let it be I3. Okay. So the current I is coming from the 12 volt source. It is divided into I1 and I3. Now the I3 and I1 again combined to form the current through the diode D2, because there is no current in this path. So we can say the current through the diode D2 is nothing but the circuit current I, the current coming dividing before division to I3 and I1. Okay, the same full current is flowing through this diode, just coming from the voltage source itself, according to Kirchhoff current law, whatever. So this D2 diode current I don't need to find at all, because it is same as circuit current. Fine. Now how to find I1? Now to find I1 you have to use the same technique. What technique? You have to find the equivalent Thevenin resistance and Thevenin circuit with respect to this 2 point. So the whole complicated circuit, the whole circuit has to be modeled into an equivalent circuit with a Thevenin voltage and a Thevenin resistance, right? So when you try to model that whole circuit into Thevenin model, this diode, you have to think about this diode. How I'm going to represent this diode D2. Anyway, diode D3 is not there because it is always out of question. It's no current. Okay, now when this diode is here, how I'm going to model this diode? In ideal case, it is very easy. I can just draw short circuit it because it is forward biased. But in real case, I have to model using some modeling, some kind of equivalent circuit. That equivalent circuit can be constant voltage equivalent circuit or piecewise linear equivalent circuit. But and it depends how much accuracy you need. But you can see here all the resistance are in kilo ohm, 2 kilo ohm, 2 kilo ohm, every resistance is in 2 kilo ohm. So I think constant voltage drop model or equivalent circuit will be also fine. There's not much error here also, right? So if I need exact equivalent resistance, you have to go to dash data sheets, right? And you have to find, or you can take a random resistance. If you're going for a piecewise equivalent model, say for example 50 ohm will be fine. For a silicon diode, 50 ohm will be fine. Or for our practical problems which we face in exams, community exam like gate or something, you can easily replace your diode with a voltage source. Okay, so let's try this. So I'll try to understand the circuit. Okay, this resistance I am not given a value. It also be 2 kilo. That's it, 2 kilo. Okay, so we have voltage source, resistance, resistance. So this is a 2 kilo. So everything is 2k. So right now, I think the voltage was 12 volt. Okay. So right now, what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to model all the circuit. This complicated circuit I am to model into a simplified circuit like this. Thevenin voltage and a simple resistance. Okay. So we should appreciate the importance of Thevenin theorem, and we are able to do it very simply. Right. Now, after finding Thevenin theorem, we just need to connect our diode and our resistance. This is also 2 kilo, for example, 2k. Okay, so this is what we are trying to do. But now the question is, what will I do with this diode while finding the equivalent circuit with Thevenin? So the only thing I want to tell you, in all practical purposes, in all competitive exams, you can replace with a diode equivalent voltage source model. In this silicon, it is plus voltage plus 7 plus 0.7. Germanium is 0.3 plus 0.3. Now you can easily find the voltage source across this Thevenin voltage source across these two nodes, say A and B. Okay, what is equivalent resistance? While finding equivalent resistance, we know we have to short circuit the voltage source. So this is in this path, the resistance is nothing but 2k parallel 4k, right? The whole thing can be 2k parallel 4k, right? This is the resistance across A and B. Okay, so 2k parallel 4k, what is the 2k 2 into 4 by 6, 8 by 6k. So Thevenin resistance is 8 by 6k, right? This is 4 by 3k. Fine. Now what about Thevenin voltage? We have to go for the Kirchhoff voltage law, right? There's another way. One of the practical ways which I used to eventually, we find better to go for the Norton when we share, for example, short circuit between A and B. If I do a short circuit between A and B, how much current is going to pass, right? So I get the current here, and this current, not in Norton theorem and Thevenin theorem, both are actually I can convert Norton circuit into Thevenin circuit very easily because Norton current is nothing but E Thevenin by R Thevenin, right? We divide by Thevenin voltage and Thevenin resistance, we get the Norton current. And same thing, if you multiply by the I Norton into the resistance in Norton circuit, we'll get the Thevenin voltage. That's another option. Okay. So did anyone try this question? So, what is the Thevenin voltage you're getting? Maybe you are finding the current first, maybe. So the current across the circuit, that maybe you're finding the I. You're finding I. I is nothing but 12 minus 0.7 divided by 3 resistance. So 6K. 6K. So this is the current. So you'll get 11.3 divided by 6K ampere. Okay. Now what the voltage? 11.3 divided by 6K into this 2K. That will be the voltage. Okay. So this will be 11.3 divided by 6K into 2K. K cut, kilo cut. So this is around 22.3 divided by 6. So we can say it is 22.3 divided by 6 is around 3.8 or something. Will be around something. Okay, so we'll take around 3.8. I can try it. So we get the ETH 3.8 something. RTH is also 8 by 6 kilo. Now, in ideal case, we can speak directly. We can find the current. In real case, we can replace the diode with a 0.7 voltage for silicon and 0.3 for germanium. You can find the same thing. Okay, I think it is clear how to the procedure to do it. Either you can find the Thevenin way, or if someone else can find the current, so you can short circuit A and B and find the Norton current, and the Norton current into Thevenin resistance equal to Thevenin voltage. Or that's it. Both ways you can do. It's up to you which way you have practiced. Okay, so I think now in next classes we have to discuss the rectifier part, some equations of rectifier and all those. Before that, I'll just like to get some feedback, so I'll make a feedback form, and you can put your feedback regarding the classes, how you are able to understand, or you are facing some problem, or the timing has to be changed, or there is some other topics which has to be touched upon. Okay, so that we'll discuss. If any comments or any suggestions, can put in that feedback form. And I think that's sufficient. For any doubts I can take, else we can stop it here. Timer has to be changed. Okay, so there is some suggestions from, yeah, we will discuss. So I will share you the feedback. So you prefer morning, right? It's like students are preferring morning time. Okay, so we will, okay, fine. So a lot of students are preferring morning time. So I'll go to your timetable and let's decide based on that. Okay, so at least right now we will have the timing. Let me stop.